You just got the email. Congratulations. Your company has been selected for an awarded government contract. You won a government contract. Congratulations. But here's the part that no one talks about. You didn't win the contract today. Today is just when the government finally told you that you won. So today, we're going to reverse engineer this entire process. We're going to start at the win of the contract, and then we're going to work our way backwards to the very first move that you had to make. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Deborah Smith. I am the owner of Poobs Logistics LLC, a women-owned small business, government contracting executive coaching business. Let's start here. The government has awarded your company the contract. That means that the evaluation process is completely over now. Your proposal was submitted, your pricing was reviewed, and your qualifications were evaluated. And the government made an award decision. I am so proud of you. But here's the question. What had to happen before the government could award you anything? We're going to go backwards, okay? Before there was an award, there was a winning bid. You actually had to respond to a solicitation, also known as a government contract. And this is where a lot of business owners make their first mistake. They immediately think, I found a government contract and now I need to bid. No, first you have to actually determine, should I even bid this contract? Does the scope match what my company can actually perform or my subcontractor? Can I actually meet the deadline? Can I provide the insurance, licensing, staffing, equipment, or certifications? Or can my subcontractor? And most importantly, can I make money doing it? Because not every government contract is actually your contract. Okay. Step 3, the bid decision. Before you submit anything, you had to actually make a decision to bid on the contract or not. The go, no go phase. This is where you reverse the engineering of the solicitation. You look at the scope, you took a look at the deliverables, you looked at the evaluation criteria, the mandatory requirements, the contract term, the pricing structure, and the submission instructions. You also took a look at the competition as well, because finding an opportunity isn't the same thing as finding an opportunity that you can realistically win. Step 4, finding the solicitation. Now let's go one step further backwards. Before you could decide whether to bid or not, you had to actually find the opportunity to bid on. This is where procurement portals come in. Cities, counties, school districts, universities, state agencies, and public authorities. They publish opportunities through their procurement system, and all 50 states have one. And this is why I tell business owners, stop waiting for someone to hand you a government contract. Go out here and get it. You have to know where the government is actually buying what you sell or what your subcontractor sells. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Before you actually found the right solicitation, you needed to understand what the government actually buys from companies like yours or your subcontractors. Because if you're a trucking company, you're not just a trucking company. You might be positioned for transportation, freight, delivery, logistics, emergency transportation, which I love. an emergency government contract, and I'll tell you why. They pay out quicker, which I love. When something is an emergency, we need you right away. We are more likely to go after those opportunities than we are to actually go after a normal solicitation. Material hauling, carrier services. Let's be honest, right now, the trucking market isn't turning around. The Next Mile Masterclass that I put together that is linked in my description shows you exactly how to win your next trucking government contract because the government has a pocket full of money. The only thing you need to learn how to do is follow a certain amount of steps to get that money from their pocket to yours. And you never have to persuade the government. You only have to follow the steps. The government doesn't buy your business identity. It buys a solution to a procurement need. That's a completely different way of looking at your company. Now we're going to go back a little bit further. Okay? Before you could properly pursue many public sector opportunities, your company needed to be positioned to do business with that government entity. Okay? That can mean that so that can actually mean vendor registration. That can actually mean procurement portals, commodity service codes, business information, requirement documentation, and overall certifications where they're applicable. Okay. And making sure your profile isn't sitting there incomplete. When you register in a portal, you need to make sure you check 2 to 3 times that all your information is properly registered inside of that government contracting portal, no matter what state you're in. Okay? Because imagine finding the perfect opportunity and realizing you're not properly registered to receive or to respond to opportunities. Okay? That's not a bidding problem. That's a preparation problem. Okay? And now we're going to close to the beginning. We're going to look at before registration. Okay? You need an actual business that can perform. Your legal structure. Are you active with the Department of State? Banking, insurance, which is optional. Let me tell you a quick story. One time we won a government contract. We almost didn't bid because we didn't have the insurance requirements that we needed, but our subcontractor did. So we held our subcontractor COI insurance, and what we did was we went ahead and bid it anyways because we were so determined in the space that we're in to win a government contract. This was actually our second award in the state of New York. We bid it on the contract anyways. About 30 days went by. We found out we were awarded. The contracting officer then gave us 30 days later. Now, mind you, we almost didn't bid. 30 days later to actually get a insurance policy in 7 to 10 days. I called a company that was local in New York, and they gave me an insurance policy with all of the requirements that I needed for $68. The next day, the insurance was active. That is called a roadblock. Things that are in the contract place that you think that you need right here, right now, that you might be able to obtain a little bit further down the line. And that is what happened to us. So before we could be awarded, we had to hold that insurance. 24 hours later, we invested the $68 into the insurance policy and we had it, forwarded it over, and we were awarded the contract. But mind you, if we would have talked ourselves out of it and shot down the mindset, we would have never won that 6-figure contract. Okay? You need licenses when they're required. You need the ability to invoice, ability to deliver, and the ability to staff the contract, which your subcontractor will do. Your ability to communicate with the government. You must have strong communication. Poobs Logistics LLC has very strong communication. Okay? And a clear understanding of what your company actually does. in one sentence. Here's your homework. Can you tell me what your company does in one sentence? Drop it below in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing it. And a clear, because here's what's the uncomfortable truth. A government contract can expose every weakness in your business, and the goal isn't to simply win. The goal is to be able to perform after you win. Now, we use a model, the subcontractor model. Our subcontractors show up on site. Once they do, they perform the work, boots on the ground. We handle the compliance, the documentation, the communication with the government, the invoicing, the back office, while our subcontractors are on site. That is what the middleman strategy effectively is, okay, in short form. Now, we finally reached the beginning. So we reverse engineered the entire process, okay? The first move wasn't, I need a government contract. The first move was, what does the government buy that my company actually provides? Or what is the easiest government contract for me to bid on using the middleman strategy? Here are your top three. Landscaping, janitorial, HVAC. Those are three beginner-friendly contracts to use on the subcontractor model. Okay, that's the shift. You stop looking at government contracting like winning the lottery. Okay, and you start looking at it like actual procurement. Okay, a government agency, also known as a buyer, they all have needs. Every government contract that you see is a problem, and you are the solution provider. Always keep that thought. The government has a problem. You are the solution to their problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you will make. And the smaller problems you solve, the smaller amount of money you will make. Okay? They create a solicitation, and then a business identifies the opportunity. Qualified businesses decide whether to compete. They prepare their response, they submit, and the government evaluates it. And eventually, someone gets the award. So, look, when you see somebody holding a government contract and saying, I just won a $100,000 contract, don't just look at the award. Reverse engineer it. What I want you to do is ask, what did they sell? Who was the person that bought it? Where did they find the opportunity? What was the evaluation criteria? How did they price it? And also, what did their proposal look like? Now, I want you to go back into one of my videos that was recently posted to see what a good solicitation actually looks like. I share that with you on screen. So scroll back through my videos, head through, and check out that video. And most importantly, what did they do before they ever found the contract? Because the award is the end of the process, and that cycle will happen over and over and over again. The win started much earlier than people realize. And once you understand that, you're going to stop chasing contracts. You're going to stop doing that, honey. Okay? You start building a system for finding and evaluating, pursuing, and winning them. Because once you have the blueprint on how to win a government contract, you can use that system and blueprint on any government contract going forward. You cannot win a government contract if you do not start bidding. Every solution, every problem that you have in government contracting, we have a solution for, linked in the description below. If you want to move faster and skip the portals, if you need one-on-one guidance, training, okay, right now, our contract is yours training is linked down in the bio as well. So everything you just seen us reverse engineer, we teach you in the training. It's a module-based format, very easy to understand, simplicity, and it is a very easy investment to make. You're going to start building a system, okay? And that is how you reverse engineer a government contract. Whatever you are thinking that is good, think bigger. Bye for now.